This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
Well, all right. Welcome into the show. It is Friday, July 29th, 2022. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Terry, today we are going to be talking to my friend, Tsombawi Knibye Jr., and he's going to be coming on to the show to talk about his new book and his journey in garment decorating. He's an apparel decorator. He's got an apparel brand, somebody that I got a chance to meet in person and we'll try to figure this out on the show maybe, but I'm thinking 10 to 12 years ago or so, back at a seminar in Atlantic City, if I remember all of the details correctly, which a lot of times I don't, so that's okay. But I'm really excited to talk to Tsombawi. He is an amazing guy, and I've loved following and watching his growth and just all the things that he does. He's as you'll learn here shortly, he has got his fingers in a bazillion different things and just really making a difference out in the world. So I'm excited to talk to him about his journey today, Terry.
Fantastic. And Aaron, I have to thank Harry Oster at Equipment Zone for letting me use his conference table in his office. His microphone, his lights. I've been in New Jersey for today is my 10th day. In fact, Jay Bassell and I were talking in the car, and I said something about 10 days in New Jersey, and he goes, "That's the title of your next novel. I don't even know what it's about. 10 Days in New Jersey." And I'm thinking, that is a good title.
It sounds like a horror show, Terry. I don't know.
Well, that's what I write. That's what I write. So.
Okay, all right. Well, good.
That's like that post I used to always do. There's a church that has a big sign out or not a sign, it's actually in the lawn in big letters that says Jesus loves New Jersey. And I always I took a picture of it and I posted it and said, "Come on now, Jesus just kind of likes New Jersey." No offense to anybody from New Jersey out there listening to us right now. If you're in New Jersey, you know what I'm talking about.
Awesome. Well, Tsombawi is from Philadelphia, if all things are correct, in my memory. Again, we've got a lot of catching up to do here, so I'm excited. And
I'll just sit back. You guys can.
No, totally. So great that you're coming to us there from what is it, Franklin Lakes,
Franklin
right?
Lakes, Franklin Lakes. Apparently, where the Real Housewives of New Jersey is located. I've never seen that show, but I'm told that they're from here. So
okay. Okay. I was going to say, really? Right in there? Okay. All right. Well, let's say good morning to some folks here real quick, Terry. We've got Crystal checking in bright and early this morning. Christy DeFalco checking in from beautiful Troy, Ohio. Beautiful day there in Troy, Ohio. Man, we got some beautiful days. Barb has got a beautiful day in north central Minnesota as well. And Todd from Fat Dad Wholesale, good morning to you, sir. Curtis is checking in from overcast central Kansas, but 72 degrees. That sounds pretty nice. So we've got everybody. And then Eric checking in the comments, taking care of us as he normally does. And then we've got Justa from Sweden. Look at me getting names. In fact, Todd says, "Hey, sounds like you maybe got a name right." And we'll find out. We'll find. I did verify before.
Who's Todd to say?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's nothing like my name.
Exactly.
You just said it with confidence. So.
For once, right? Normally that's the problem, is I get so in my head about it that I've got it right, and then I freeze. So we'll see. We'll find out. So we've got lots of people checking in. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Christy is a Jersey girl. Kristen. Sorry. Good morning, Kristen. And I think she said gentleman, Terry. I think there was air quotes there, though. I'm just not sure.
She's probably talking about Eric.
Probably. Or Tsombawi. So Christy is a Jersey girl. So there you go. Good morning.
So, Christy, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, she
You know
says.
what I'm saying.
She says that's why I left. Loved growing up there. Wouldn't go back to live there. Okay. All right. Well. Oh no. Yep. Doug, our friend Doug Quinn. You remember Doug, Terry, from
I do
back
indeed.
in the Atlantic City. He says, Terry, don't forget to get yourself a world famous pork roll sandwich.
You know, I was getting myself a bagel this morning, and somebody ordered one right behind me, and I thought, oh man, I should have got one of those.
All right. Well, interesting.
But I did have myself a fine bagel. So.
All right. Excellent. Well, yeah, you got to get a good bagel out there. Okay, Terry. Well, let's hit a couple news items so we can get into the show here. But what do you got for us?
Well, the Everything Embroidery Market is coming to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I know we've mentioned that a few times. The Everything Embroidery Market is the largest event of its kind for the embroidery, sublimation, applique, and vinyl application industry. It is the place artisans can go to get together, to learn, connect, and grow. This show. So they say we are lucky to align with Quilts of Valor at our show. That's very cool. If you haven't heard of Quilts of Valor, their mission is to cover service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing Quilts of Valor, and we are honored to be a part of that. And this show has quickly become a must-attend event for small businesses, home-based businesses, and crafters. And if you'd like to go to that event, it is in the Myrtle Beach Convention Center on September 22nd through 24th there. And I know you will have some more comments about that, and there's a link for going to that event. So if you're listening to the podcast version, just go to our website and you will find that link.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So speaking of that show, my kind of news item here, I actually get to be a sponsor of that event. And it's going to be a great couple of weeks for me. I'm going to fly out to Charlotte around the 15th, which we've talked about many times. And then I'm going to also get back from Charlotte, drive out to Atlanta to go to the Sublimation Summit. But I could not miss the Everything Embroidery Market. So I'm going to sneak out of Sublimation Summit a day early and then drive over to Myrtle Beach that night to be there on Saturday. So as part of a sponsorship, I get 2 tickets to the show. I get 2 free tickets to the show that we can give away any way that we see fit. And so I thought, you know what if we gave away these tickets, and these tickets do include 3 classes that go along with it. So the total value of each of these
only
tickets
yours, though? Only your classes?
No, they can sign. I would certainly love it if they would sign up for mine, but actually some of mine are already starting to fill up. So hopefully you can still get into those classes. But yeah, so each ticket's about a $75 value. You can sign up for any class, not just mine. But here's what we're going to do. The first 2 people who sign up to become OSG members, they first come, first served, they're going to get those tickets. So Eric's got the link down there, osg.link/2RGOSG. That's a lot of G's and O's and yep. But here you go. So ticket giveaway to the EEM show. So just sign up to become a member. That's our trial offer. So you get to check it out. It's only $5 for the first month of the OSG membership. So, and here's the deal here. The other deal, Terry, if people do want to sign up to become members and maybe you can't get to Myrtle Beach, that's okay. Just sign up, and I'm sure I'll sweeten the deal. It's kind of, me, I always like to make sure I give as much value as possible. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's cool. It for me. So speaking of New Jersey, or 10 days in New Jersey, in fact, Christy said, pork rolls, yes, and the pizza. Have you had pizza out there yet?
I have had, well, you know me, I've had pizza multiple times here.
I was going to say, I almost kind of said, why did I just ask him that? That's silly. But
I would eat pizza for every meal if I could.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, so you've been out there, though, for a bit because you're out there at the GPX show in the Meadowlands.
Exactly.
So talk to us about that. And then you've got the DTG, DTF thing coming up. So, yeah, just kind of give us a rundown of your time out there in New Jersey.
Yeah, the show was good. Not as many vendors as any of the shows I've been to this year. Even some of the kind of local New Jersey, New York City vendors that I would normally see were not there. Our booth, though, there's a 2-day show. It's a Thursday, Friday show, and our booth was just slammed. The first day, I did a everything you hear about DTG printing on the internet is wrong. I had that class was very well attended. Interestingly enough, Aaron, only one person raised their hand when I said, "Are you already in the DTG business?" And
Really?
so everybody else in the class was there shopping for DTG or DTF products. So second day on, by the way, though, dead, not a soul. I mean, it was, that show that ends at 3:00, and all of a sudden about 1:30, you hear the tape guns going. People kind of. I'm just going to go ahead and box this part up. It won't look like I'm tearing down my booth yet, but. All in all, I think it for all of us who were there as vendors, I think that we're going to call it a success. And I know that we sold a couple of DTG systems, and that's what you're there for. It doesn't matter how many people are attending. And I will say, the people on the first day, there weren't looky-loos, and nothing wrong with people coming just to kind of look around, but the people who were there were interested in quotes and making purchases and asking all the right questions. So, in the end, it worked out pretty well. And then yesterday here at Equipment Zone, and the reason I stayed over for so long, we had what we used to call DTG Academy, but this one was, the brainchild of Jay Bassell. So obviously it had to be something kind of quirky. So It was the DTG DTF Summer Camp. And so everybody's name tag said camper on it, and of course Jay had brought some of those hats that and they were decorated, that the kind of roll up hats with the big wide brim. So when I went up on stage, I put one of those hats on. Welcome, campers!
Oh man, we gotta get. Is there a picture of that somewhere? Come on, it's got to be.
Yeah, Jay. Yes, lots of pictures. It was a great event. Half the people already had DTG printers, half didn't. I will tell you this, and this was interesting to me. We had a couple of F2100s set up for people to, at the end of the day, they could go and print camp shirts, and we had a really, really cool logo for it. Everybody migrated to the DTF area. In fact, we limited the class to 18 people. Every one of them were over there wanting to do DTF transfers. And so I thought it said a lot. I think 2 people printed a DTG camp shirt, and everybody else was just enamored with DTF. So I thought that was kind of an interesting situation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And then you've got then still time in New Jersey, right? Because you've got something else coming up here.
Well, you know what? No, yes and
Okay.
no. We actually about 3 weeks ago moved that screen printing class back to September, so that we had a little bit more time to promote, because we gave ourselves what we felt like was a little too short a window to start a new location for screen printing class. So we moved back to September 10th and 11th. Which
I should read the outline.
Yeah. Well, of course, then I was informed that, as you know, I live 1 mile from the Arizona Cardinals Stadium, and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing the first game there. Guess what weekend it is? Yes, the weekend I'm going to be here teaching screen printing class. So I'm not going to see my Chiefs in Phoenix. So anyway.
Oh, well.
All
right.
Save myself a few $100.
That's right. All right. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for the recap. Terry, I think since you didn't get to participate in the dad joke last week, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but I thought it was a great one. I don't think anybody else did.
I went and read it. Yes, I can't remember it now, but
well, my son's been saying it almost every other day since he heard about it. So that it's a good. All right. Well, so with that in mind, I believe you have a dad joke for us today, though.
I do. Aaron, do you know why Indiana Jones is always depressed?
Why?
Because his career is always in ruins. That was
that is a good one. Good one. You should submit that to Josh Gates. I think he would really enjoy that one. So he's a big.
That's true. I never thought of that. All right. But we have yammered on too long. Before we go any further, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to be on the show, go to calendly.com/2. the number 2, Regular Guys, and share your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would appreciate any reviews: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon. We are everywhere, thanks to Aaron. And wherever you listen to podcasts, please go and give us a review. It's really important to us, and we would appreciate it very much.
Yes, indeed. And I think you said thanks to Aaron. Was that in air quotes too? The thanks.
It's not in there, but I did say it.
Yeah, I know.
You got us everywhere, man.
That's right. That's right. Well, yes, we are everywhere, and we appreciate everybody supporting us everywhere. So thank you very much. Speaking of that, we do have some opportunities to support this program. Get your word out to all of those everywhere places. So we are accepting sponsor opportunities. If you guys would like to check that out, go over to tworegularguys.com/sponsorship, and you'll find out all the details there. But yeah, we do have sponsor slots available, and we're always looking to, share the good word out there. So let us know if you or somebody you know might be interested in being a part of the Two Regular Guys podcast here. All right. Well, Terry, let's get to the program here, right? I'm ready to get on this journey with a little trip down memory lane. Yeah. So Tsombawi can help get my facts straight for sure. But let's welcome him in here. Terry, are you ready to go?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna see if I get the name right one more time. Tsombawi Knibye Jr. is an entrepreneur with entities that consist of apparel brand, positive mindset, podcast, music, and video production services. He is also a youth mentor, parenting coach, songwriter, voiceover artist, and accomplished musician. His experience in these areas include being a musician for over 30 years, a songwriter for over 20 years, a video production and voiceover artist for 10 years, and he has had the pleasure of working in the school education system for over a decade. His work with students and their parents with after-school programs, summer camps, job fairs, behavioral and social skills program has equipped him to play an essential part in bringing restoration and guidance to both single-parent and both-parent households. His podcast involves looking at life from a different perspective, challenging your attitude and character to think positive thoughts, say positive things, and co-positive deeds. It also includes invoking conversations, interviews, and insights from other entrepreneurs, leaders, and innovators in their respective industries and niche markets. In addition, he is working on a nonprofit entity that serves his local community for educational and life purposes. He also strives to collaborate with other nonprofit organizations locally, nationally, and globally for effective positive change for both now and the foreseeable future. This gentleman is changing the world. Welcome in, Tsombawi Jr. There we go, I think. StreamYard's being a little slow here. There we go. Hey, you're here, sir.
There we are.
All right. Well, welcome in. First and foremost, how'd I do on the name?
You did great. So Tsombawi Knibye Jr. You did great.
Okay. All right. I was close. I know I missed a little bit, but thank you for helping me out there. So yeah, welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I know we've had some business ventures together, some collaborations, and just bouncing ideas up back and forth off each other. So I'm excited to be here to share and to be a part of the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Yes.
All right. Well, that list, I'm feeling like I need to go out and get involved in some other businesses. All of a sudden, I'm motivated. But you have that big list of businesses and projects. Talk to us a little bit about your wide-ranging career.
Well, it all started in Jersey, Terry.
Of course it did.
Originally where I'm from, so I'm backstage and I'm gonna give Terry some business.
You need to, yeah.
But no, I'm originally from Jersey. I'll tell everybody all the time, if you say you're from New Jersey, you're not, because when you're from New Jersey, you say I'm from Jersey. That's what you say.
Gotcha.
And so
even in Bergen County, though, don't the Bergen
anywhere
County
in Jersey.
Okay.
as long as you're in that line, you are from Jersey, not New Jersey. So I was born and raised in Trenton, the capital city, which over time has changed dramatically. But I was lived in Jersey for about 20 plus years of my life before I moved, which is now to Delaware, where I'm at now. I'm actually in my studio where I kind of run all of my music and video production stuff, podcasting, and all that. And then I kind of got the music was the first love for me. I was, but for overall, before I got into that, I was, basketball was a thing for me at first. So I played basketball, through middle school, high school, college, and had aspirations to go to the NBA. But it was my third year of college when I was at Rutgers, and I was actually starting to write a lot more songs at that time. And a lot of the songs that I write, they're more, positive, gospel, Christian music centered. And so I was filling out a form to go to the NBA Summer League in California. And I filled the form out, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it. And I sat back in my chair in my dorm room. And I'm like, do I really want to do this? I'm like, do I really want to play basketball or do I really want to do music? And I had to come to a conclusion of which one I liked and which one I loved. And I said, well, there was a time when I loved basketball. I said, I kind of like it now. I said, but I love doing music. And that decision that day, I said, all right, I'm gonna do music. That's what I'm gonna do. And I never sent off the envelope. I never decided to go to California. And in hindsight, I was like, I could have at least tried, though. I mean, I didn't try, but I kind of like that decision I made. I think for the course of my life now, I would have met my wife that I have now. I probably wouldn't have the children that I have now, and I wouldn't be on the path that I'm on right now, which for me, making a couple million or more in the NBA would have been a great, but then I look at it, I'm like, well, where would my life path have been if I had done all that? And then to fast forward, I've done a number of music projects, my own music projects. I've worked on a couple things. I've played for a few, artists in the industry as a drummer. Drumming just it was a natural gift and talent that the Elohim gave me, and never had a lesson in my life. I just over time just got better and better with it. And then from that, we sprang into video, where I started getting into more like video editing processing, which for me was kind of the same, because music and video is kind of the same thing. You're just dealing with, with actual footage as opposed to just dealing with music. And when you're doing video, if you're doing something that requires music or background music, you're kind of doing one and the same. So it kind of became a great marriage for both of them to do them together. Along with that came voiceover. And so I started doing a lot of voiceover stuff for people. I did one for Aaron himself for his promo a few years ago. And but I did voiceover. I've done some radio stuff. Never been like a host or a VJ or a DJ. But when I started my podcast, that's kind of when I really started capitalizing on my voice and getting it out there more. And then the education part of it, I've been a youth mentor over the past decade or more, working in the education system, working in after school programs. I did in Trenton when I was living there, and then I've transitioned to Delaware, where I'm doing a lot more mentoring of youth. I've worked with youth from ages 5 to 21, so like elementary school up through college. And then you have the parenting coaching part of it, where I've seen a lot of stuff, whether it's in urban communities, suburban communities, and things of that nature, where parents they have a struggle in one area or another to be a parent for their child, or the fact of not being a parent, where you're kind of either neglecting or you're just kind of doing the best you can with what you know. And there's parents who do reach out, and then there's a lot that don't, because they just don't know how to ask for help. It's kind of like, I'm an adult, I'm a parent, I kind of know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm afraid to ask for help. And so that's kind of where I come in and step in. And so that's, a plethora of what I've done over the past, 20 years of my life. I say music for over 30 because I'm 40 years old, but I wrote my first song when I was like 10 years old. Not that that's, it counts, but it doesn't count. It was a song, but it wasn't like something that you would put on a record, but
yeah, I'm sure it was awesome. Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of I guess you want to call it a brief overview breakdown of the past 30-ish years of my life in business per se.
Nice. Wow. I'm gonna have to learn from you how you are able to condense that into the time that you did. I would still be talking about year number 2 or 3 of my life. And
I've learned over the years to do the fast pitch.
Okay. All right. The fast pitch. Awesome. Well, you do have an amazing voice, and the voiceover that you did for me was fantastic. So if anybody's looking for any voiceover work, definitely check in there. But so I've already found out that I was wrong. I thought you were in Philadelphia, but you're actually in Delaware. So now they've corrected that. If I remember correctly, though, we met in Atlantic City. Does that sound about right? Okay.
We met in Atlantic City about 7-8 years ago.
Okay. All right. I couldn't remember how it was somewhere in there. Perfect. So you came to this crazy world of garment decorating. Tell us about what brought you into this world here.
Well, I always at one point wanted to do something with apparel. And when I say apparel, it wasn't just t-shirts. It was apparel in general, where it was, it's wristbands, it's t-shirts, it's pants, it's socks or whatever. Kind of like dress you from head to toe, kind of thing. And I wanted to do something that wasn't just, we just had apparel and that was it. Like I wanted to be able to tag more stuff onto it. So I started, doing things where there were videos that, because what we do my company that has its brand is called Frame of Mind Inc. And it's INK. And so we have our own online store, and we have just positive mindset, t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, we have women's fits, we have wristbands, we have duffel bags, and we're looking to add more products to the store. But I wanted to be able to have content that also went behind it. So if you buy a t-shirt, you buy whatever you get, there's some content we can send you that gives you, maybe a 5 to 6 minute, video on, being determined, a 5 or 6 minute video of making it happen, or a 5 to 10 minute video on thinking it, speaking it, and achieve it. That's our tagline: think it, speak it, achieve it. And so I wanted to be able to add more content behind it and not just have a t-shirt. So you might have this closet full of positive wear, but then you also have, this content of videos you can go back to and look at and kind of remind you, because we all have, our quote unquote bad days. But, in those bad times, those bad days, if you're wearing your shirt that says think it, speak it, achieve it, and you also have the video to help you out, you kind of have a double whammy. You're wearing it, you're hearing it, but then also you're helping other people because you're wearing it, they're seeing it. They might be like, oh, where'd you get that from? Oh, I got it from here. And now they're able to also do the same thing. So that's how we got into that space. Had no idea what we were doing. We got into space. But we knew we wanted to kind of do something. And along with that came us doing customization too, where we work with organizations or individuals to start doing, they have a design, they have an idea they want to do, and we make it happen. We do logo design. We can do design for as far as, what it is you want. You have an idea, but you don't know how to do it. We can make that from scratch for you. Or if you have one already and you don't like it anymore, you want something new. I'm like, all right, we'll take your idea and concept and we'll come up with something new, something fresh. And so my wife plays a huge part in the custom side of it, because that part of the company is thriving, is doing great. As we know, when it comes to brands, it takes time to build brands. But the part my wife works in, she's doing an amazing job with the custom side of it. She has a lot of customer retention. She gets a lot of word of mouth is really the biggest thing for us when it comes to acquiring customers and, and getting new people in and then getting new business. So that's how we got started.
Nice.
That's where we're moving into now. And so I actually have on my Think It, if you can see it the video wise, my Think It, Speak It, Achieve It shirt here. So, and then we also have the logo on the back of the shirts as well. The logo is literally, and if anyone, tries to steal the logo, it's definitely, you can tell it's ours because it's literally the shape of my head.
It is. I actually was just texting my wife and asked if she could grab one of my Frame of Mind shirts from my closet. So she's going to bring it down here, I think.
I think also when you said, hey, when we got started, we didn't know what we were doing. I think every one of our listeners just raised their hand. Yes.
Nodded heads. Yep.
All right. Well, so you're talking about brands. You have a variety of brands, it sounds like. So your apparel brand, are you able to tie that into the other things that you're doing?
Oh, definitely. So a lot of what we're doing business-wise ties under the umbrella of Frame of Mind Inc. So if you ever look at a a bicycle wheel, and there's the center of the wheel, and then there's all the spokes that come out of it. Everything kind of lands under that umbrella, one way or the other. So the music part of it, it's it's Frame of Mind Inc. music, where we have the studio portion, music production, all that stuff, songwriting. Then you have the Frame of Mind Inc. studio part, where it's more the video section, where we're doing our video editing process and all that stuff, voiceovers, things of that nature. Then you have, even with my my youth mentoring and parent coaching, that's more solo work than it is, company work. But it all ties. It's all about, mindset, about having your mindset, changed, shifted, thinking more positively, saying positive things, doing positive things. And it all kind of correlates together with what I do. You may not see Frame of Mind Inc. on my solo work, but it all ties in together. It's all under has the same foundation. So that's how we tie everything in.
Yeah. And I think that's such a great lesson for our listeners here to understand, right? We think about, we've got to have a niche market and we're just going to do one thing, right? You're going to be the t-shirt guy, but that's not what a niche market is. You found your niche in this positive mindset, and you're able to kind of, go wherever your passions take you from that and tie them all together. I love your analogy of the bicycle with the spokes coming out of it. That's such a great, I think, for me, I was like, light bulb went off when you said that. So very cool. That's really awesome. All right. Well, so you said when you got started, right, it was, you didn't know anything. Like Terry said, I think you matched the rest of us in that world. Oh, there, I've got some shirts here. Hold on a second. Yep, there we go. I've had these for a while, and I really enjoy wearing them. So let me show off a couple of these shirts real quick. No matter what place you're in, finish. I love that one. That one I wear quite a bit. And then this is my wife's shirt that she likes to wear. Under construction daily. So thank you, Eric, for putting me up there solo. So, and then yes, that is definitely you.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
are correct that you don't have to trademark that. That's a tough one to steal.
All right. Well, so let me get back to where I was headed there. All right. So the question I have for you is really, what are some of the things, like what's been the biggest thing that you've learned, or some of the things that you've learned about the apparel printing and the unique characteristics of that part of your business?
I'll be honest, like when we first got into it, like we went to the t-shirt conference in Atlantic City, I think it's 2017. And before we got a hold of that and actually got there and were there, like I didn't know they had conferences for t-shirts and apparel. I'm like, what? Yeah. There's a whole world out here of this stuff. And so it was just a brand new thing for us. I'm like, this is really cool. And so we kind of really got engulfed in it because we just didn't know that world existed in the way it did. Yeah. And so and we went back the following years. We would go back, and of course 2020 when COVID hit, that was the year where they scheduled it, they canceled it, they scheduled it again, they canceled it. And so we have yet to go back or to be a part because it just never got rescheduled in Atlantic City, which would be closest to us. But it was just interesting to see how that industry was so vast, but also it was interesting to see people like Aaron who were there, who were kind of open book people who weren't trying to hold their secrets to themselves and not share it with everyone else. I know there was a guy who my wife deals with. I can't remember his name, but he actually got scolded by a couple of people and brands for like, why are you giving away so much stuff? Like, why are you giving so much? He's like, why wouldn't I? Like, I've been where they've been. Like, they need to know that you don't have to do X, Y, Z to be in competition with someone else. Like, do what you do, be excellent on your level. But then if I don't give back to those who are coming behind me, then what kind of a leader would I be? Yeah. And I found that to be awesome because, you don't want to give away everything, but you want to give away, as Aaron said before, you want to give away enough value or as much value as you can, because you want them to come back and say, hey, I got value from this person. They said X, Y, Z. I want to continue to get value from this person. And that's all. It's all about giving value. You have to give value. If you don't give value, what else are you really giving? Yeah. And you can charge for stuff and people will pay, but there's things, the stuff you give away for free is the stuff people want to come back to. Because then when you do charge for something, like, you know what, I got all this free stuff, Now they're finally charged for something. I really know how much value they bring. I'm going to pay for it, and that's business. That's just business 101. You know, people always say, "Well, you're always selling something." Yeah, but when you give away free stuff, people are willing to buy your stuff because now they know the value that you bring. Yeah. And we learned a lot of that from Aaron and from others who were there. And over the years, like I said, me and Aaron have just gone back and forth about things, even on social media, supporting each other. And I just found him and his wife to be just genuine people. I had him on my podcast a while ago. We were talking about, family and business and how you separate the two and how do you working together and being married and working together. So it was just interesting to see how that world was so vast. I'm like, wow, like we just entered a whole new section that we never even knew about. So
that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. Yeah.
Well, so you're kind of like a mega entrepreneur in my eyes. So, we have a lot of garment decorators really all over the world that listen to this podcast. Do you have any tools or tips for being an entrepreneur for our listeners today?
Yeah, well, in general, the entrepreneurial journey, it's a lonely one, but it doesn't have to be. One thing that I've learned to find my tribe of people, my community that I can be a part of other entrepreneurs that can help support me in those times when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling like what I'm doing is not enough, those times when, no one else understands me except for the entrepreneurs that are doing what I'm doing, and for a while I felt alone in it because I didn't know where my community or my tribe was. And then when I finally found it, I'm like, oh, this is where they are. I'm like, I'm not the only person that thinks like this. I'm not the only person that feels like this. I'm not the weirdo I thought I was. And so that's one bit of nugget there. Find your tribe, find your community that you can be a part of. Then another thing is to continue to plug away at it. Don't quit. There's going to come times where you're going to want to quit, and there may be times where you do quit, or you possibly may have quit. The difference between stopping and quitting is that when you stop, it's kind of like you put a pin in it, you pause, you come back to it. Yeah. But when you quit, you got to start all over again. You can't go back where you left off. So stopping, pausing, putting a pin in it, yes, do that. All of us need to do that at one point in time. Yeah. But don't quit. Quitting is something that will back you up for months or even years, depending on what it is you try to continue to do again. And the last thing I'll say is to just continue to put people around you that are going to support you for what it is you're doing. And I'll say this, and this might be something you guys have already talked about already. Family and friends aren't going to support you at first. They're going to tell you you're crazy. They're going to tell you why you're doing this. Go get a job. Do X, Y, Z. Everything that they're doing, that you're doing, that they don't have no idea what it's about. Like, you've never done this before, but you're telling me what to do. I was like, I get it. It's tough to start out, but put people in your circle and around you who are able to support you. But then also, when you get in those times and moments where you're feeling, lost, or you're feeling like you're not sure what to do, they won't let you stay in that state too long. Like, hey, we support you and we know how you feel, but you got to pick yourself back up and get back on the horse. Like, we're not going to stay here and wallow in wallowland and feel sorry for ourselves. Like, we got to get back up and keep moving. So those are the general things that I would say. From an apparel standpoint, I would just say, know your industry, know the fabrics, know the people to go to the conferences, talk to people, network. My wife does an amazing job, again, with, all the operations part of our business, whether it's the brand or it's the customization. So I lean a lot on her when it comes to that. I have, my knowledge, but she's well knowledgeable about the fabric, about the different companies out there, the different, all that stuff. And so she's very well versed in that. And so I lean on her a lot for that. So in us working together, I'm the guy that keeps the business running. I make sure all the quarterly taxes are done. I'm behind the scenes doing all the business paperwork. And she's just kind of like, on, as far as her side goes, I just look, you do what you do. I'll make sure it keeps running. Just go do what you do.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Wow. A bunch of golden nuggets in there too, everybody. So make sure that you're coming back and re-listening to all that. what you talked about with like getting that team around you and stuff like that. Yeah, it's something that, I talk about all the time. I truly believe that success is a team sport. But you played basketball, you've been on a team, you kind of understand that, right? A team is there to lift each other up. So, you might fall down and they've got the hand up, but then they're going to say hand up, and then they're going to, slap you on the back and say, okay, let's keep going forward. Right. And I think that's such an important thing for people to understand is it's one thing to surround yourself with, the friends, the family that are going to be there to, kind of help you wallow, so to speak. But at the end of the day, as a business owner, that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So you need people that are willing to push you a little bit too. So I love that. All right. Well, so, as you said, you and I have kind of been connected social media back and forth, talking lots. And what kind of prompted me to say, hey, I want to have you on the podcast is you released a book about I guess this month, just a little over 9 days ago, I guess, if I remember right, about kind of a devastating experience that you had in your life. And so go ahead and talk to us about that. The book's called Letting Go of Baby 2. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yes, so Letting Go of Baby 2 is a book that I wrote. I'll hold it up real quick for those who are on the video portion.
Please.
Letting Go of Baby 2 from a Father's Heart. And this is something that I wrote. I started it in 2017. And about a year and a half into it, it kind of got put on the back burner. Life happens, things of that nature. And but to give you the backstory of why I wrote this book and where it came from, in 2009, I believe it was. My wife has all the details. I mean, I know 2009, I believe it was. We had a miscarriage, and so we were attempting to have our first child, and we were early in our marriage. We got married in 2007. We were in our mid 20s, and then this happened to us, and so my wife ended up writing the book first. Her book was called Letting Go of Baby, and she wrote the book first in 2015. And so she wrote the book, and then 2 years later, in 2017, her and her best friend, who's a counselor, wrote a follow-up. It was called What's Next? A Guide to Dealing with Grief After a Loss. And it talks about the 5 stages of grief in that book. And so just real quick for the video people, this is my wife's book, Letting Go of Baby, that she wrote 2015. And then the follow-up was this here, What's Next? A Guide to Dealing with Grief After Loss. And so they had a workshop in New York that they did that about 20 women came to. And out of those 20 women, there was one man that showed up. And that to me, I was like, one man? I was like, was his wife there? And they were like, no, it was just him. And he was just curious into finding out like what all this was about. And he wanted to see how this community of women, come together on such a topic as this. Because when it comes to baby loss, we hear about it from the female perspective, and rightfully so, because they're the carriers, they're the ones that have to go through the process. But we don't hear it from the male perspective. What we don't understand is that, the mother lost a child, but the father did too, but as men, we don't talk about this because as men, we're kind of taught in general, to be tough and suck it up, and now don't talk about it, just be a man. But, we're human beings and we have feelings just like women do, just like children do. So we all have feelings and emotions and we need to kind of deal with those. And so what happened was I decided to write this book because that was the first spark of inspiration, was that one guy being there amongst those 20 women. And then about a year ago, we talked to some friends of ours who also went through a miscarriage themselves. And then talking to the husband, I was just, prompted, by Elohim to just go ahead and finish the book because it had sat for so long and I hadn't finished it. And it went from me, working on it a couple hours a week to a couple hours, a day. And then it just became every day. I just worked on it till I finished it. And it became just so seamless that as I was writing, just all the memories were like right in front of my face as I'm writing. And it just became seamless to me to finish it. And so my main purpose and goal of writing the book was to help other men, deal with, heal from, and be free of a situation such as baby loss. Because one thing that I've noticed as far as men, but we keep things and we suppress them so much that eventually they begin to fester. And when they begin to fester, it's like that soda can or soda bottle. When you shake that thing up and that top comes off, everything in there is going everywhere. And whoever's in the way, they're going to get it. Yeah. And so it's a open book to me and my feelings and my emotions, what I dealt with, you know, the inadequacies, you know, the guilt, the shame and the blame that I dealt with. And it's just a matter of us saying, hey, look, men, we need to talk, you know, because when we don't deal with things and time goes on, it starts to not just affect us, but it affects those who are connected to us, you know, our spouses, our children, our friends, or whoever it is that's connected to us. And so I wrote this and in hopes of starting the conversation around that topic and helping us as men to begin to talk and possibly even build community around that, to where we're not, shaming each other or putting each other down, but we're building each other up, you know, in our weaknesses.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks for sharing.
Well, so both of you wrote a book about this, and all of us deal in our lives with traumatic experiences in our relation, you know, that impacts our relationships. Do you have any thoughts on how to keep your marriage intact when you're dealing with experiences like this?
Yeah, definitely. I've been asked that question often, and I tell everyone, I know our marriage personally actually got stronger through it. But in the individualities of it, between what she was feeling and what I was feeling were two different things, because we kind of, as men and women, we deal with our emotions and feelings differently, but we all have the same emotions and feelings. Where, you know, women, it's very out there. It's very, you know, it's very in your face. Whereas men, we're reserved, we hold back. And for me, I realized as her husband, I needed to be there for her. And what that looked like, I don't know. It's just a matter of just being there. For me, it was not necessarily saying anything, just being there. But the one thing for me that had the inadequacy of it was that as men, we're created and built to conquer, and we're providers and we're protectors. And when my wife was going through this, I couldn't fix it. You know, I couldn't fix it for her, and that was a problem for me as a young man in his mid-20s who just got married and now is dealing with this. I couldn't figure out how to get it done for her. And then for me, once I started dealing with my own feelings, it was kind of like, what is this? Like, where is this coming from? It's like, you know. And so for married couples and out there, I would say that, you know, be there for each other, have the conversations. But as far as from the men's perspective, saying less is more, because nothing you will say or nothing you will do will help her in that situation. The best thing you can do is just be there for her, and always acknowledge that yes, this happened. How can we get through it? And this is just, you know, a brief overview of how you can go about doing this. The one thing I always say to people, if they've ever seen the movie but that Tyler Perry put out, is called Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married Too? That's actually where I got the title of the two on here. I got it from that movie. And it's, if you see Janet Jackson's character and Malik Yoba's character, they're a married couple. And what happens is they lose a child due to an accident. And Malik Yoba's character, the husband, he acknowledges it, you know, he deals with it, but Janet Jackson's character doesn't. And what happens is she's this great author and she's writing these books to help marriages, but her marriage, it's falling apart because they're not on one accord on dealing with the fact that this child passed away. And what it ultimately ends up destroying their marriage, because they don't deal with it and acknowledge it and learn to try to heal from it. So don't let that destroy your marriage. Don't let that be the thing that separates you, but it should bring you closer together, because you both are dealing with this. No matter how you deal with it, you both are dealing with it. And we need to make sure that we, if need be, you know, we find help, we get help however we can, whether it's for someone reaching out to us or us reaching out to someone. You know, I stress in my book, and you'll see that for us as men, like, we have this macho, I got it kind of attitude, you know, I got it. It's like, yeah, you do. But when it comes to certain situations, like, you need to ask if you need help. Nothing wrong with asking for help. You don't want to, go down a rabbit hole too far where now it's like, well, I'm down here now. I might as well stay here. Like, no, ask for help. Nothing wrong with that. So communicate, talk about it, deal with it, find out how to heal together, because you are one. When you're married, you become one. It's not, you have your individualities, but as a whole, you become one. And let's remain one in our circumstances and issues.
Yeah. Wow. What great advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, where can people find your book, your wife's book, learn more about what you're up to?
Yeah, definitely. So people can find out more about me and the book at Tsombawi.com, literally. You can buy my book individually there on the site, or you can buy the entire series, like my wife's 2 books and my book, and get the whole series if you want to. So there's a price for the books individually, or you can buy the series, and then they're great for individual reading. They're great for husband and wife readings, and they're great for like small groups if you want to get a group together and talk about this and this, that, and the other. I encourage that for women to read my book to get a perspective of where we come from on this topic. And I encourage men, if they like, to read my wife's book to see what women have dealt with internally that they haven't even talked about. We know it affects them, and we know that it's something that they deal with because it's a very close relationship with a child and a mother. One that's very unique, but you get a deeper, understanding by reading my wife's book, seeing like what they deal with underneath all that outward pain, that we see.
Yeah.
I'm also on social media. You can type me up by name, or you can, my @ is at TK Billionaire on Facebook and on Twitter. And then my Instagram is just at TK.Billionaire. And also on LinkedIn under my name. There's 3 of us in the world, my father, myself, and my son. I'm the only one on the internet. So that's the only one. So anyone else who's trying to be me or be Tsombawi Knibye Jr., they are a liar. I'm the only one.
The only one. So it should be easy to find. All right.
Right.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we let you go, Tsombawi, I always like to see if we can pull one more golden nugget. You've given us so many already, but as we talked about, let's bring some value. I got a quick final question for you. And as we talk about that, as you took us on this whole journey, right? I think what really stood out to me is that as business owners, we're people too, right? Business is just a relationship situation back and forth. And obviously when there's people involved, there's emotions involved. So what is the number one key to kind of successfully responding to, dealing with, however you want to phrase that, kind of navigating the emotions of our lives, and how can we kind of put that into the perspective of our businesses?
Well, I will say this. I learned and continuing to learn to make sure that whoever it is that I'm talking to or dealing with, that I treat them as the most important person in the room at that time. Where if I'm having a conversation with you, I am locked into you. My eyes aren't going here and there. I'm not, having thoughts in my head about something else. I'm locked into what you're saying. If I'm sitting down and you approach me, I stand up to make sure, and that goes a long way. To be sitting down and then someone approaches you and greets you, and to stand up, look them in the eye, shake their hand, or whatever it is you do, that goes a long way, because no matter how high up, the hierarchy you get, it lets that person know that, hey, I might be XYZ, but at this moment, I'm going to acknowledge that you are the most important person in this room at this moment because you came over here to speak to me, and I'm going to give you that attention. As far as our businesses are concerned, customer service is, I think, the number one key, to our businesses. And of course, selling products and all that is great, but you can sell products all day long. The customer service is not great. You can lose that customer to somebody else because your customer service is not great. I'm not going to mention any companies or any names on here, but those of you who have been on the phone a long time waiting for someone to come and talk to you, or automated system that sucks, or hangs up on you, you feel some type of way about that. Yeah. And so you want customer service is huge for us. My wife harps on it all the time. I do as well. whether I'm working on a video project or a music project or whatever, I treat my clients and customers' projects like my own. And that's why I want to be able to say, look, this is not my project, it's yours. I'm going to treat it as if it's mine, because I'm going to put my best foot forward to give you the best value out of what it is you're expecting to get from me, whether it's apparel, whatever it is. Customer service is definite. And I believe that goes a long way to just make sure that whoever you're dealing with, make sure that you acknowledge them as the most important person in the room at that moment, at that time. Be all in at that moment in time.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome advice.
Awesome advice. Absolutely awesome advice. Wow. Tsombawi, thank you so much for your time today. It's really been a pleasure. And, you know, obviously I've had the pleasure of knowing you for longer than some of our listeners. And so now everybody else gets a chance to connect in with you too, and get out there and grab that book. Regardless of what you've experienced in your life, I think anytime we can understand more about emotions and dealing with them and all those things, it can be so powerful in our growth as people. So I want people to get out there and grab those books. And so one more time on the website where they can get that at.
Yes, that's Tsombawi.com, Tsombawi.com. You literally, it's right on the homepage. You can click, you can get my book or get the whole series, and just enjoy, you know, reading, you know, my story, our story, and just taking a dive in from a man standpoint. I just believe it's time for us to start hearing from the Father.
Yeah, agreed. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really great to catch up here, and thanks for all the great work you're doing out there in the world.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Aaron. And hopefully we can do it again sometime later.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan.
Thanks so much. Awesome.
I love it. Go Jersey. From Jersey. All right. So what a great opportunity there, Terry, to just, you know, fabulous. Cover and I was so interested in this. Like I said, when I saw the note from Tsombawi on social media, I thought to myself, gosh, you know, I know that that's not specifically garment decorating, but I think as we kind of talked about there, this journey that we all go through is all part of our business, right? And so I felt like there was stuff that we could pass along to our listeners today, and Tsombawi came through for me. So I love it.
Absolutely. Wonderful
all right.
guest. So that was great.
Yeah. For sure. And then from a while ago, Doug Quinn had the start of a dad joke for you. So you'll have to get into the comments there on Facebook. He says, Terry, why did the snail, a Formula One driver, want an S instead of a number on the side of his car? So we never got the answer to that. So we'll have to see if he's...
Doug, are you out there, man?
Yeah. Come on. Oh, there we go. He's ready for us. So go ahead, Eric, whenever you're ready there. Every time he goes by, he wants his fan to say, look at that S car go. Okay, Doug, thank you. All right, well, with that, let us do a quick 5 things here, Terry, and then we can close this up today. All right. Well, here's my 5 things today. The 5, and having Tsombawi on it kind of made me think, hey, mindset. He's all about the positive mindset, determination. I mean, I have not met somebody that's as determined and just has such a great mindset as he does. So these are 5 mindsets you must develop for success. Number 1 is the abundance mindset. If you focus on what you don't have, you will continue down that path. So instead, focus on what you do have and then see how things are going to grow for you. So that abundance mindset's number 1. Number 2, become a priority manager. Most people think that they've got a time management problem, but the reality is we all have the same 24 hours in the day. So our real problem is doing the right things at the right time, which is priority management. Number 3, get out of your comfort zone. Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Your comfort zone is what's driving you insane. So get out of your comfort zone. Do something that you wouldn't have done before, survive that risk, and keep moving forward. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to take action. Right? Once we start thinking about getting outside of our comfort zone, we need to take action. So with our show, the other learning opportunities available to you, the internet, right? Not everything you read on the internet is true, as Terry says, but we have all of the information that we need available to us at our fingertips. So what actually counts is what we do with that information. What are you going to implement from the show today? What are you going to implement from the different things you learn each Friday on Two Regular Guys? So what action are you taking? That's number 4. And then last but not least here, number 5 is to take 100% responsibility. The second that you start blaming, complaining, commiserating, making excuses, you're only focusing on the problem. And that is the second that you also give away all power you have to make any change, to have control over your life. So once we actually start taking 100% responsibility, that is the most empowering thing that we can do for success, because now we've taken the control back. We get to make all the decisions moving forward and change the results that we are getting once we start taking 100% responsibility. So there are my 5 things today, Terry, for the mindsets that we need to achieve.
Awesome. This is a motivational show today.
Definitely so. Definitely so. Well, so speaking of motivation, you are out there on the road, but where else can people find you out on the road, sir?
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm heading to the airport at 2:00 Eastern time today, heading for home. So
all right, there you
looking
go.
forward to getting home after 10 days in Jersey, not New Jersey.
There you go. 10 days in Jersey. Love it.
All right. My next complete screen printing business course in Chicago will be at Atlas Screen Supply on August 27th and 28th. That class always sells out. So if you're interested in going to Chicago, get signed up for that class. My next class here, my first class here, first of many, I hope, at Equipment Zone in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. That is the New York City area, September 10th and 11th. My next class in Phoenix that I just get to drive over to, Aaron.
Yep.
September 17th and 18th. And I do have some other events coming up that I'll be adding to the show for next week, but you can find everything I'm doing at my website, terrycombs.com. How about
Excellent.
you, Aaron? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, and the one in Phoenix is at Workhorse Products. I'm not sure if
correct.
You
I'm sorry, I did not
that.
say that. I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. So just that way people know where they'd be heading. But yeah, right there in Phoenix, and it'll start cooling down in September. Plus, you guys have air conditioning, so it's all good.
Indeed. And Workhorse Products is 10 minutes from the airport. So
even better. There you go.
As is Atlas Screen Supply, 10 minutes from the airport as well. So that's my criteria.
All right. I love it. Okay. Well, for me coming up, the Condi Virtual Open House is actually happening as we speak. In fact, it's probably going on right now, but you can still get signed up and check out what's going on over there. I think they're even leaving the information up for a certain amount of time, but at dietrans.com/Condi_VOH is where you can find that. VOH 2022 is where you can find that information. And I think you still get in on the prizes here. Once you register, you can win an Epson F570 Pro printer bundle, or a Sawgrass SG1000 printer bundle, or a DK14S Geonite heat press. So those prizes are up for grabs there. And then tomorrow at 12:30 Central Time, Center of the Universe time here, Terry. I will be presenting my class there for the Condi Virtual Open House called The Simple Act of Working on Your Business, and giving people the strategies and techniques to not only kind of have a strategic plan for their business, but also get some of their time back by what I kind of mentioned in the 5 things up there, priority management over time management. So that's happening tomorrow at 12:30. September 11th, I'm going to be participating in an international business summit called the Small Business Skills Summit. They are going to have 30 experts over 30 days, and I get to be one of those experts, so I'm really excited about that. If you'll head to osg.link/skills summit, you can check that out, and you will be able to take in my session called Conquer, Fear, and Thrive. I mentioned the Charlotte show at the top, but just another reminder that on September 15th, I will be out at the Graphics Pro Expo, and the day before, I think it's the Wednesday night, the 15th, if I'm remembering the days correctly, but September 15th, they are having an opportunity called the Start Here Academy. And we've actually heard from a couple of the influencers that'll be there. Lots of opportunity to just learn and have that startup mentality. Even if you aren't a startup, I would recommend that you check this out, because getting around and having those startup kind of mentality conversations help us a ton. I get to be the MC of that event. So if you want to go check that out, osg.link/SHA. I'll be giving kind of a quick short opening keynote, and then get to bring all these amazing influencers to you. So I'm excited about that. Come back from that in the car to Sublimation Summit in Peachtree City, Georgia. So go to sublimationsummit.com and check out the details there. And then so I'll be there just for one day. I think I'll be there Thursday and Friday. Friday night in the car over to Myrtle Beach from there. It's only a 6-hour drive, so it should be no big deal. I've got my dad with me, so it'll be great. And I may make him do the driving. But heading to that Everything Embroidery Market at Myrtle Beach. And on that day, I'll be teaching 3 classes plus being part of the panel in the morning, and they're going to feed me donuts. So that's, that's worth it right there. But I'm going to be teaching pricing for profit and confidence, keys to starting a successful product decorating business, and finding your customers to stand out in a crowd. So then a short break, a little bit of rest for the wicked, and then we're off again to Printing United in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got Josh Carruth from Printing United going to be joining us here just a few weeks to give us a little bit more information. I keep trying to, they give us a little bit of a sneak peek, but then they tell me I can't talk about it. And I'm like, that's not, I can't sleep at night, you guys.
Behind the curtain, but don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. So soon I'm going to drag it out of them, and we'll be telling you about some of the cool things that they've got going on. But the 2 regular guys will be there October 19th through the 21st. We'll have a booth there, plus we'll be an integral part of the apparel zone and the podcast booth over there. And so kind of come see the monkeys behind the glass, so to speak. So that's what I've got going on. Terry, would you mind sharing what Eric's got coming up here, please?
Absolutely. This week is episode 121, non-apparel and in the hoop items for your machine embroidery business. And Eric's going to talk about the many products he's produced to complement and expand the classic lines of decorated apparel, from classic bags, tags, badges, and accessories to the spectrum of in the hoop items you can make leveraging existing logo assets. So just head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up on the top of the menu. And also look for Eric's extended session making small run patches coming up at Impressions Expo Fort Worth at impressionsexpo.com. And it'll be in the Eric Campbell wing of the seminar area.
Do they have a statue made yet? I thought I heard they were working on the statue to kind of greet you as you walk in.
It's weird, though. It's all made of embroidery thread. Bizarre.
Huh. Yeah, interesting. All right. Wow, that's some head shaking and then just maybe kind of a look of death. I'm not sure. All right.
I know. It looked like, what's wrong with you guys?
He signed up for this willingly, folks. So he's really questioning his decisions today. All right. Well, you guys, we appreciate it so much. We've come to the close of another show. Just wonderful information from Tsombawi, and just enjoyed the conversation, Terry. I just enjoyed kind of taking that journey with him and learning so much. Definitely check out his book. It's going to be worth the read. So check him out at tsombawi.com. And Eric's got it up on the screen there, tsombawi.com for those of you on the podcast side. So make sure you go check that out. Really great having him on today, Terry.
Absolutely. And we want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all the magic that happens in the background.
Yes, indeed. He's waving the wand. He's got the hat. The whole thing makes us look good. It's incredible. It's a feat of magic. All right. Well, Terry, next week we've got Joe Kramer, who works with Amber Creative, our friend Jeremy Picker over there, and he's going to talk shop with us. He's got an incredible story too. He's been in shops throughout the world, worked with major retailers. I didn't ask him if I could share who yet, so we'll see if we can get that out of him. But you'll know the name once you hear it, and he's got all sorts of information on different decorating techniques, including embroidery, screen print, applique, and so much more. So it'll just be kind of an opportunity to not only learn a ton, but to geek out a little bit, and really looking forward to talking to Joe next week, Terry.
Absolutely looking forward to that. And until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out!
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.